Hi, and welcome to your Tuesday 2-minute tip. Today I want to talk about greens. I specifically have this bunch of green kale that I aged for you. Maybe that's a thing, aged kale. This has been in my fridge for probably over a week and a half, and it still looks really great. It's still pretty crispy. So some things to think about when you bring greens home. If you bring them home from the regular supermarket, they're probably pretty clean, and you definitely should not wash them first. Anytime you add water to a vegetable and put it in your refrigerator, that water will cling to it, and that's when it could start to rot, or that will start to make the process of it going bad more quickly. So if possible, wait to wash it until you're going to eat it. The caveat to that is that the people that I always hear recommending wash your stuff as soon as you get home is if you constantly buy things, think you're going to eat it, and then every night you look at it and it requires a lot of work, so you don't do it. So if it helps you eat it in the next day or two, go ahead and wash it, but I wouldn't try to store it for a week or more if you're going to wash it as soon as you get home. If you buy it at the farmer's market, sometimes in here it actually has like literal clumps of dirt on it, and you can just kind of tap it like this over the sink and knock those off so you're not refrigerating the dirt, and then wash it. I also will put these in the refrigerator in the high humidity produce drawer. So there's two drawers. You can usually change whether it has a lot of humidity or not. High humidity, think jungles, right? So think like crispy greens, anything leafy needs high humidity because there's a lot of water in here, and that will help the leaves stay crispy longer. You can also wrap the bottom of the stems like I did on herbs a few weeks ago with a very damp paper towel. And then it's almost just like cut flowers. So from the bottom of here, it'll soak up the water from a super damp. It doesn't need to be really wet, just a little bit. And then that will help keep it too. You don't need to wrap the top part of it. And then lastly, I want to say if they start to look bad like this, or I mean, again, this doesn't look too bad, but if you can tell they're near the end and you take this part out, you can blanch this, dunk it in salted hot water, squeeze it out after like a minute or so, and then you'll get like a softball size or baseball size of greens, and then just put this in your freezer. This is basically what you're getting if you buy frozen spinach, and you can do this really, really simply. And if you store little balls at a time, you can always just pull them out and they're ready to go. And then with the stem ends like this, especially, you can see this one's really tender. I would maybe chop it off right there and then chop this up and saute it. And you can basically use it like you would use celery. You could put it in the base of a soup. You could put it into a stew. And then if you're not going to do that, you can just put it into stock as well. So that's how you store your greens. Heartier greens like kale will last longer than spinach or arugula or lettuce. Those kind of tender greens won't last quite as long. But if you use the basic same principle, you can see how long you get from your greens. So, also consider buying fewer greens if you keep throwing them away. So that's where you note what you're throwing away. And if it's constant, like, 2 cups of greens in the garbage every week, just buy a little bit less. So store those greens, use them up from leaf to stem, and I'll see you next week.